Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybrook Family Farm. If you're wondering why I'm wearing the same shirt as in the previous video of the tour of our camper, well, it's because it's the same day, just a couple hours later, and I was not about to change clothes, so that way it made it look like I was filming on 2 different days. That just seems poppycock to me. But the whole point of our channel is to really display realness of what this lifestyle is really like. So, today makes it officially 1 month since we closed on this property. So I thought I would give you guys a bit of an update as to what all we've done in this past month, because it honestly feels like we've been here for like 3 months already, based on how much we've done. It's kind of insane. So I'll start by where the first video I took from this property started. The massive trash pile. It is all still there. Well, not all of it. I took out a lot of trash, reduced it by a lot. When they dug out, I'm assuming this is what happened, when they dug out for the foundation of our barn, they piled the dirt up all there. Then it became a trash pile after that. So it is years and years and years, probably decades deep of random trash that is there. So I did what any smart person would do on a time frame and just put the fence around it. Like, I cleaned it up as best as I humanly possibly could for the time being, but we wanted to be able to move forward with bringing the animals here, like Lucky and Bonita and all the birds. So I just simply went around it, so that way nobody was going to step on it. So I thought I did a really awesome job of cleaning it all up. Super meticulous, making sure that everything that was in the top 2 inches of the soil was gone from sight. Well, one thing that chickens are excellent at is scratching the surface of things. You know, emotions, the heart, your skin, your face off, but also finding more trash. So this is, with having the chickens here, the chicken pasture is right over there, but we raise bantams, so they can easily fly up. Like him. He just flew up onto that 4.5 foot tall gate as soon as I started filming, just so he could keep interrupting to crow, get his 5 minutes of fame. So chickens, what they do is they scratch all over the ground to find bugs. Trash hides bugs. Trash is also neat little treasures. So they just keep scratching around and scratching around and scratching around to dig up more stuff. So every few days or so, I come out, I grab more stuff, grab more trash, toss it back onto the trash pile. So then that way I can start picking up trash from the trash pile all over again. I think it's going to be a repeating cycle, probably the entire time we live here, that I'm probably going to keep finding trash. But that's why we put the goats back here. For the most part, the goats won't mess with trash. Everybody thinks that goats will eat literally everything that they see. They won't. They're just curious. They want to taste it. They want to nibble on it. It's kind of like raising toddlers, especially with Lucky. He always, that's Lucky right there. He always wants attention, and yells and cries if he doesn't get enough of it. Basically, like a toddler. They just eat a lot more grass than a toddler ought to. So we also started working on creating a turkey area. That's what this area right in here is going to be, and it will extend out further towards where the rabbit tractor is. There's the last T-post. It'll go the same length as Wilbur and Ferdinand's pen, which, there's Ferdinand. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. And there's Wilbur. One of the most difficult tasks was bringing everybody here. The place that we bought is a major fixer-upper. Needs a ton of work. That's how we got it for cheap. There's lots of trash everywhere. So the first step on our agenda when we got the place was to get it ready for the animals to come, because we can't live here if the animals aren't here. And the animals can't live here if we're not here. So it was very much a symbiotic relationship of working on animal stuff and working on the house. The next thing that we did after we got the fencing for the goats done and most of the trash cleaned up is I had to separate the barn into two different sectioned off areas. So I built a wall to keep the chickens in. Well, can't really keep these chickens in, but to basically keep the goats out of the chicken area. Goats love chicken feed, and if they eat too much chicken feed, it'll actually make them be really sick and potentially die. Lucky would do just about anything to get his mouth on some chicken feed, so that's always fun, keeping him out. So we had to create. I have a door to put right there. Been really busy, haven't had a chance to put it up yet, and even if it was up, the birds would still find a way out. So I had to create this wall right over here to keep the goats out of there. We also had to run electric fence to keep Lucky in. So there's the goats area. That's the other side of the chicken fence. There's Lucky trying to break through to the other side of the gate. So the barn is not yet finished. There's still a lot of work to do. But we also had to get our quail here too. We never really talk about the quail. It's kind of just, they don't really do anything exciting. So there's not really much to say about them, but I might as well show you guys. That's some of the quail. And then right here is actually a quail egg. It's about the size of a robin egg. Here's my eyeball. It's for a size comparison. They're not real big. They're definitely like a delicacy. What we like to do with the quail is use their eggs for pickling because they're bite-sized, so they're really super convenient for pickling. We like them quite a lot for pickled eggs because the flavor of the brine just gets the whole way through, and they're also kind of cute. But so we have one of these cages. It's a 3-tier cage. So there's 1, 2, 3. The bottom pen is our oldest quail. We got those. They're like a year and a half old. We hatched them out. All of the quail that we have, we used our incubator to hatch out. Well, not all of them. How we actually got into doing quail was we had a hen go broody. I gotta lock the barn back up so that way the door stays shut. We actually had a hen go broody, and we did not have any chickens laying eggs when she went broody. She was like the only one. And we tried to break her of being broody multiple times. It didn't work. And if you've heard me talk in one of the previous videos about a hen that completely neglects her entire well-being while broody, yeah, that was the hen that went broody when we didn't have eggs for her to hatch. She was ready and willing to starve herself to death to hatch out eggs. So we had been interested in doing quail, half-heartedly interested in it, and she kind of forced us to go all the way in and get some hatching eggs ordered and shipped to us. So that's how we got into doing quail. Plus everybody in the homesteading community is always touting about how great the meat is and how wonderful they are and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. So good on saving space and yada yada yada. They are great on saving space. The meat isn't bad. To us it kind of is a mix between like turkey and chicken, kind of like the dark meat of a turkey mixed with the texture of chicken, not as dry as a turkey. But so it was just okay. But the eggs are what we raised them for more so because they're, like you've seen, kind of cute. Lots of things we do here is just because kind of cute or fun or interesting or unique. So anyways, that was the quail. Other things that we did at this new homestead, besides just general cleaning of trash, well, we had to replumb the whole house. Well, not we. Tracy had to replumb the whole house. She's the one that... Oh, bug just landed on my nose. She's the one that does all the plumbing in this relationship. I had to learn how to do electrical, so she learned how to do plumbing. It worked. So when we got the water turned on, well, when we got the power turned on, after my dad inspected everything to make sure that the house wasn't going to explode when the power company came and turned everything on, we tried to get the water going. Turns out the well pump was cracked because the house had been vacant since sometime last June, and nobody ran the water out of the lines before winter came. So the well pump broke. It froze, and cracked. So we had to get a new one. And then once we got that sorted out, my dad came another day, helped install the new one, taught me some electrical stuff since we had to run new electrical because the electrical here was kind of janky. They had like, I don't know, the whole bathroom, the whole basement, and a bunch of other random things ran off the same circuit as the well pump, which is a huge no-no. That should be by itself. So we had to fix that. Then I rewired the bathroom. And since then, I've rewired the living room and part of the dining room. So it's just been constantly, when it's a rainy day, I work on rewiring. We haven't had very many rainy days, but it's supposed to rain this weekend, so I'm assuming that wiring's on my agenda for this weekend. So anyways, when we got the water turned on, we learned that all of the cold water lines, they had burst. So there was sprinklers going off everywhere in the house where there was never supposed to be a sprinkler. So yeah, that made it so we had to replace all of the plumbing. We would have been able to move in within like probably a week of us having the house if the plumbing issue wouldn't have happened. We've lived in a camper for over 11 months, full-time living there. So we were pretty much accustomed to roughing it and living in ways that were kind of a little bit difficult. So what's living in construction zone? So we were already prepared to do that, but you gotta have water. So that took a while to get everything all plumbed in. Tracy spent a lot of really late nights here after work. She usually works 50 to 60 hours a week, so it was a doozy. I'm sitting where there's a whole bunch of dandelions, and there's all these bees buzzing around me. I'm not allergic or anything. They just distract me because some of them are really noisy and they sound really happy. I'm actually, once I'm done filming this video, going to pick some dandelions to make some dandelion wine. But anyways, so we've done a lot with animal shelters and enclosures. I painted the entire upstairs. So that way our rooms were painted. We painted the floors up there. I painted the kitchen. Needs a couple more coats of paint still and trim painting done. And we moved everything. Like in a month's time, we got this house ready, got everything ready for the animals to move, moved the animals, moved us, moved almost all of our stuff. There's just a few random outside stuff still left at Tracy's mom and dad's house that needs to be moved. And we started like making this into a home and a homestead, which is, it sounds simple, but it's really a lot of work. Like planning it all out, figuring it all out, moving all the fruit trees, moving all the berry bushes that we had potted up, and figuring out where to put pastures at. Like everything, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work. And I'm still kind of bamboozled as to how we all got it done, because I've also, in the past 2 weeks, also have been working on getting our camper ready to sell, which today it hit the market. So if you're in the market for a big camper, let me know, because especially if you're local. I mean, if you live like in California, I'm not gonna help you because I can't deliver it, and I don't think anybody wants to drive all the way to Ohio to buy a camper from me. But if you live locally and you're interested in buying a big camper, check out my camper video that I posted earlier today, and let me know if you're interested in buying it. Anyways, so I repainted all that, got it super deep clean, so that way it's ready to go for whoever buys it. They can just get in it, well, hook up to it because it's a tow one, and tow it to wherever they want to go. So we got all that done. We got all the animals here. On Easter, we bred the rabbits. So here soon, in a few weeks, we're going to be having meat rabbits born here. We've been moving the rabbit tractors. Excuse me. Every time I burp, I never know that it's coming. My body's always been weird like that. Like even when I was little, like it would just come out at the worst times in the middle of me speaking. So I'm not a pig, I swear. But yeah, I can't help it. Sometimes things just happen. So so we had chicks hatch a couple days ago, rabbits bred, lawn mowed, the other camper that we have, we used it since we weren't using it to live in or anything of the sort. We actually, right before we closed on this house, we actually filled it up with stuff in it, basically to have it as a movable storage shed. So yeah, it was kind of an ingenious move on our part. However, when we were moving here, a lot of the stuff that's in there is like different tools that I use on a regular basis. that are kind of buried in the camper. When we were packing it all up, we were like, okay, this is going to be the first thing that we move. Wouldn't you know it, the first 2 weeks that we had this place, it rained almost every single day. Yeah, it was really intense because I was doing fencing in the rain for the goats so that way we could move in on a weekend so it wasn't a work night or a school night. It's been intense. Like, I know that I keep saying that a lot, but like, I have this issue where I get so like focused on stuff, like laser focus and tunnel vision on the things that I'm doing and the things that I'm accomplishing. I don't even realize like just how much I actually did and have done. And I know you're probably thinking, oh wow, she's just tooting her own horn, but no, I'm not. Like, the amount that we've been doing, it's crazy because this past 2 weeks also, our son Willie has been in driver's ed. So I've been spending anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day in the car driving to take him back and forth to school and back and forth to driver's ed and all of that stuff, and then just general errands that needed ran for, you know, getting everything established here. So it's been a lot that's been done in a month. Like, I still can't wrap my head around the fact that it's only been a month and we've already got this much accomplished. But so moving forward, what's on our agenda for the next month, I suppose, I start the farmers market on June 17th. So I'm kind of rushing to try to get as much stuff done before then, just because, you know, the weather will be warmer then, the garden will be in full swing. So next week I'm going to work on getting the garden area tilled up. That's why I have the rabbit tractors right in there. So that way they are working on fertilizing the future garden space. I also moved a whole bunch of rabbit manure here from where we were living, so that way I can add it to the soil to really boost the fertility. But so the farmers market starts in mid-June. So I'm trying to get as much stuff done before then as possible, especially like in the kitchen, because I bake bread, so I need a fully functional kitchen, which, you know, we have a stove, we have an oven. I redid countertops, put in a new sink. Well, I set the sink and Tracy did the plumbing part. But I did hold the faucet still so she could secure it, so I kind of helped with that. But so my biggest thing is trying to get as much done before the farmer's market as possible, because since I bake artisan bread, usually on Thursdays I make the dough, because the dough has to sit in the fridge overnight. Well, it doesn't have to be overnight, but it's supposed to be like 8 hours at least. There's a very happy bee on this dandelion right now. But so on Thursday I make the dough, and then on Friday I bake all the bread, usually towards the afternoon and the evening, so then that way it is at the peak of freshness Saturday morning. Saturday morning I rush around like a lunatic, get all the animals taken care of for the day, then I go to the market, and that's about 3 hours long. But usually after the market I am so tired from peopling that like I just kind of crash and burn. Last year, every time that the weather was nice after the market, me and Tracy, we would go fishing, just so that way we could do something that we enjoyed, that was quiet, that we didn't have to talk anymore. Both of us are pretty big introverts, so yeah, doing the market sometimes takes a lot out of us, because like I actually, as you can tell, I like to talk, but sometimes peopling, it gets really tiring and it's exhausting, especially like having to be super friendly all the time. You know, just it gets tiring. Yeah, but I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm not. It's a fact of who I am. Holiday time is really rough for me because so many people try to talk to me, and I don't know, it shuts me down. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo, but that's life. Tracy's kind of a weirdo too. That's why we work out so well. Anyways, so I'm gonna get going so that way I can get some of these dandelions picked. It's actually calling for storms in like the next hour or so. So all of these dandelions, they're going to end up closing up when it starts storming to protect their pollen. So all of the bees and everything are kind of going crazy right now trying to get to them. If you've ever done any foraging, I hope you do it responsibly and only pick like 1 out of every 5 flowers that you find. If it was later on in the season, I would say 1 out of every 3, but because it's still early spring. A lot of the bees and the ants and everything are really relying on the dandelions to be their food source. So every time that you forage, you should always do it responsibly, but especially with the dandelions. But the wind is definitely picking up, so I'm thinking it's probably going to start storming soon because there's some dark clouds coming around. So I'm gonna go. So if you guys are enjoying this content, please give this video and all of our videos a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to help us grow. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.